This video is going to show you how to set up Facebook conversion API tracking with your platform to get better results from your Facebook ads. So what is this and how does it work? So I've got a diagram here that I'm going to sketch out why this is important, how the function works, so that you might actually then stick with this video and actually set this process up. So another word for this is what's called server-side tracking. So basically what this is doing is that if you're running conversion ads on Facebook, so you've got an ad running to a landing page, and here's what this diagram is. Here's our ad over here on the left, here's our landing page, and a conversion through to a thank you page, right? Is typically what we would run, okay? So if you're running that situation, what this is basically doing is it's providing better tracking in case the Facebook pixel fails to work or doesn't work correctly, okay? And the reason this is so important is that with the updates to the iOS 14 on iPhones, basically what is happening is that potentially on those devices, there's like a wall up where Facebook can no longer see what's going on with people interacting with landing pages, people opting into thank you pages. Okay, because normally what goes on is we have something called the Facebook pixel. This is our pixel over here, and we put our pixel on the landing page to generate audiences of people who hit the landing page. We put our pixel on the thank you page to track those that opt in, and it counts as a lead, and usually you would track that as a lead conversion. However, the problem where Facebook can't necessarily see this, particularly on iPhones, mean we need a solution, and the solution is server-side tracking. So the way that this works is instead of relying on the Facebook pixel to send the data back to Facebook, because normally what happens is this pixel will send the data back to Facebook and say, hey, we just got a lead. You should show this ad to more people like that person that just opted in, right? Because now we've got this issue that there's this wall up and this connection doesn't happen because Facebook can't even see what's going on there in every situation, right? That's not exactly what's going on, but it's enough of a basic understanding of why this is important, right? Because now in your automation platform, what we have is we have this extra step, which is called a Facebook conversion API step. And what this does is it means that from your workflows, you can send this information back to Facebook. So even if Facebook doesn't see directly what goes on, you can actually tell Facebook directly from your platform, hey, a lead just came in, and it will attribute it to the correct ad. But it actually gets even better than that, because normally your leads come from the thank you page, right? So the Facebook pixel reports that, yes, someone just hit here, it's a thank you page. But with your automation platform in workflows, what you're able to do is not only can you capture those people, they hit the thank you page, and that's what we call the landing page completed. But if you were to install your chat widget on your landing page here, it means that even if someone simply asks a question on your landing page and they don't even opt in, that can actually be tracked as someone messaging you, and that can also trigger this Facebook conversion API to fire and actually just indicate this was a lead event. Plus, you can then run the rest of your workflow in terms of adding them to your pipeline as an opportunity, maybe notifying your team that someone just sent a message in the chat from the Facebook ad and things like that, right? So overall, you're going to get much better, much more accurate tracking. Plus, you get all the other benefits of your automation platform in terms of being able to track things like revenue and sales data is exactly attributed back to the exact ad. Okay, so general attribution of ads is covered in another video. What this video is now going to focus on is how to actually set up this Facebook conversion API step. So let's jump straight to it, and we'll hop into our Facebook Business Manager and get this set up. Okay, so two things that you'll need set up other than an ad account and a business manager, of course, is you're going to need to have your domain ownership verified in your Facebook ad account. That's covered in another video. Just look up the video on domain ownership and create a Facebook pixel. Okay, and again, the pixel isn't covered in this video. You will need to create your pixel separately. Okay, so once you've done that, what you'll need to do is grab your Facebook pixel. So go into your business settings, find your pixel. We're going to go into data sources and click on pixels. Click on the pixel that we want to get and click on open in Events Manager. There are numerous ways to get to your pixel area. Ultimately, you want to get to Events Manager into the pixel. Okay, once you're in your pixel management area, you stay on the overview tab and we're going to grab our pixel code and make sure we've got that on our funnel. So click on add events here and click on from a new website. And here we click on install code manually. Okay, and this way you're going to get your Facebook pixel. So we simply hit copy the code. We can now close this. Then go into your account into the funnel that you'll be going to sending the ads to. So once you're in funnels, select the funnel that you want to edit, click on settings tab, and the head tracking code, just paste the pixel code that you just copied and hit save. Once that's done, head back to your business manager in Events Manager. And now we're going to go through the process of configuring your conversion event, right? So the API conversion works with standard Facebook events, right? So we don't use this with custom conversions, we use it with standard Facebook events. So these are things like a lead, a purchase, a scheduling. There are lots of different options, okay, and you'll see those in a minute. For the purpose of this video, we're just going to show you how to set it up with a lead event, but the process is going to be the same if you're using different types of events, okay? But this demonstration here, we're going to create a lead event, right? So what we do is we go down to add events, we click add event, and we're going to say, in this case, from the pixel, and we're going to use what's called the event setup tool. So we open the event setup tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to put in the URL that someone would visit in order to be a lead, right? A lead conversion. So if we go back to our funnel, in this case, we have a landing page and we have a book a call page. So in this case, on the landing page, when someone fills in the opt-in form, they become a lead. And so we want to measure a lead event for someone that arrives on this page here, which is the URL book a call. So we grab this URL and we copy this. We go back to our events manager and we paste in the website URL and we hit open website. Okay, this will open the page, and on this page, you'll have the Facebook event setup tool will pop up. So what you want to do is hit track a URL. And here we want to select an event and we want to select lead. And in this case, we're going to say URL contains, okay, and we're just going to keep book a call, right? So what this means is that you could potentially have different landing page or different thank you pages rather that have book a call and maybe something else on the end. It's all going to be measured as a lead, okay? So in this case, it's just book-a-call. We're not including a value on this page. If you were measuring something like a purchase, you could set your currency here and you could choose your value. In this case, we don't need to, so we leave it blank and we simply hit confirm. Right, so now a lead event will be tracked when someone hits this page via an ad with a URL book-a-call. Okay, so now we have another step still to make sure this event works correctly. We go back to our events manager. Just close that and refresh the page. Okay, and now we see when we scroll down, we see that we have an event, we have a lead, okay? So from here, what we need to do is we need to set up what's called aggregated event management, right? So this is like the part 2 of setting up conversion events to work correctly with Facebook now. Again, caused to do with issues of iOS interruptions with the tracking of pixels, etc. Okay, so we click on that tab and then we click configure web events. Okay, from here, you want to click on the domain that you want to link to that conversion. So in this case, we're clicking our domain just here and we click Manage Events. Hit Edit, click Add Event, choose the pixel that you're going to use. This is our pixel just here. And then we choose our event. And we scroll down and we find Lead, okay, because that's the standard event. And that is it. Hit Submit. Confirm your changes and hit apply. Okay, and there you're all done. So quick recap, we created the lead event conversion and then we set up what's called aggregate event management by mapping that conversion to our verified domain. Okay, so that's where we're up right now. So now we're going to do the last step, which is to go back to our events manager for that pixel. And we're actually going to now create the conversion API in our pixel settings. So now we hit the settings tab. We're going to scroll down and we get to this area called Conversions API. And what we want to do is click Setup Manually and click Get Started. Now you can scroll through these, you can read this if you like. We go Next, Next, and Setup. Hit Continue. Okay, and now we need to set up our events that we're going to map. Okay, so in this case, we're just using leads. So I'm going to change this to professional services, okay, which is going to create the lead category. Now, if you have other ones you want to set up, you need to select them here at this point as well. Again, for the purpose of the demonstration, we're just going to use lead. Okay, so we go continue. Now, there are certain checkboxes you want to hit here. Okay, so the first one is event source URL. That's the only one that you check up the top. Then we go down into the second area and we select client IP address, do not hash, which will automatically select client user. Then we also in this first column, we want to select first name. In the next column, we want to select click ID, and the next one, we want to grab email, browser ID, and last name. Okay, so you've got client IP address, client user agent, first name, click ID, email, browser ID, and last name. Okay, once those are selected, you will, if you selected multiple lead events, so say for example, events, say you had lead up here, you might have purchase, you might have scheduled. You'll need to select each one and repeat this process for all of them. Okay, so you need to do each one. Here we've only got lead, so we hit continue. Then you'll get this summary page to show that you've definitely got this set up correctly, and you should see it looking like this, and hit confirm setup. Okay, that's all you need to do here. So simply hit finish, head back to the settings tab, and we're going to go down and we're going to click generate access token. Okay, so we're going to need that in a moment. When we head back to our platform to create the workflow for the actual Facebook API conversion event step. So click on workflows in the left-hand menu. In this example, we're going to create a workflow from scratch. So we click start from scratch and create new workflow. It's likely that you might be setting this up in an existing workflow, in which case you can just add this as the first step to that workflow. But for this demonstration, we're just going to call this our demonstration workflow. And the trigger in this needs to be some sort of action of opting in, like someone completing a form or a survey, something like that. So if you find that when you set this up that your API event isn't there, it's because you're using it for a trigger that's not applicable. So in this case, for example, we're going to say that a landing page form is submitted. And we're going to say that this is form submitted, and select our form by saying form is in the filters and select our form. And save. Now we're going to add our step. So we click add the first action and we scroll down on the right here. We're looking for Facebook-conversion API. Okay, so to set this up, we go back to our events manager, copy that token. If you didn't already copy it, just hit copy on that. Paste that into this field just here. Then go back, scroll up in the settings area of your pixel and you'll find your pixel ID. Just click on the pixel ID and it will copy it. Go back into the workflow, paste that into the pixel ID, select the relevant event. Okay, so in this case, it's already on the correct one, which is lead. The value, we're leaving blank in this case, and the currency we're just leaving as is. Okay, and hit save. All right, and that is all you need to do. That's technically your setup complete. You would then publish this workflow, hit save, and then it's ready to go. What I'm going to walk through with you now, though, is how to actually test the connection. So if you want to test this is actually working, which I recommend doing, that's what we're going to do right now. So the first step to setting up a test event is to click on test events. And you'll find here there's a little test code. So you simply copy that text, go back into your workflow, select your Facebook conversion API step, and paste in the test code and hit save. Now, I'll say this again at the end of the video, but after you've run this test, it's really important you go back and delete that test code. Otherwise, your workflow won't work in terms of sending back the live data. So it's sitting there now. We're going to test it. We must remember to come back and delete it afterwards. So now what we do is we actually go and run a test by opting into the funnel, right? So you can't run this test by clicking the test workflow button. That won't work. What you need to do is actually run whatever this trigger is here. So for example, I have a form here, the Facebook opt-in form. I'm literally going to go and fill that form out and run the workflow that way. As always, whenever leaving the workflow area, make sure you hit that save button, because if you leave without saving, you'll lose whatever you've created. Okay, so hit save and then go back to your workflows area to go and run your test. Okay, once you've run your test, you come back to your test events and you should see events received. You'll see received from server. Now, if you actually ran your test on the live URL, you may also have triggered the actual lead event by the URL. If you remember, we set up that custom lead event by that page /book-a-call, and that may show up as well. Rest assured that when the Facebook conversion API step fires, it's matching it back to the click ID so that it knows whether or not that lead has already been attributed to the relevant ad. Plus, if you've got your event attribution set up correctly, then also in your automation platform, you'll also see your attribution settings as to exactly which ad each lead came from, etc. So you've got great visibility of exactly what's going on as to exactly which ad every contact came from. Plus, your reporting is all good because regardless of whether or not they're on an Android phone, iPhone, desktop, whatever their platform is, your bases are covered in all events, that you've got the server-side tracking working, and your leads are going to be credited and attributed to your ad campaigns. Finally, remember I would say at the end of this video, you would go back to your workflow where you set this up, click on your Facebook conversion API event and delete the test code and hit save, and then hit save again on your workflow so that this all works. Now, last point, we are going to put a separate video up about this, but super quick here. Technically, what you can do is you can add another workflow trigger that basically works like this. You can say chat received. And if you, for example, put your chat widget on your landing page and you simply go in here and say customer replied, add filter, reply channel, chat widget, and hit save. Now, anytime someone submits a message in your chat widget, it's going to trigger that Facebook conversion API, right? So if the person didn't come from an ad, then nothing's going to happen. But if they did click on an ad, then it's going to attribute that message as a lead. Okay, so there'll be a separate video on how to set that up, but if you've already got your chat widget set up, that's just like a bonus step. You can go in and run that. You might want to run it as a separate workflow because maybe you don't want all the automations to run as if they opted in, because remember, they didn't opt in. They just sent you a message. So I just want to show you this here that you can do it like that. But again, I recommend putting it in a separate workflow because the person didn't actually opt in. So the action is different, but effectively you can run the same thing. You can literally clone this workflow and all the information here from the Facebook conversion API step will come across and you'll get those additional leads. And we've seen in some cases an extra 50% of leads coming through from people who actually just message rather than fill in the opt-in.